Hello, and welcome to Get the Gist podcast, where we delve into stories of industry leaders shaping the future. I'm your host, Ruben Fukan, co founder and CEO of Good Gist, which is built to help busy professionals save time on routine tasks like email triage and scheduling, data entry, research, and more. So, today we are honored to have with us Umesh Joshi, a distinguished supply chain leader with over 20 years of experience in retail, FMCG, consumer goods, and automotive sectors. Umesh has held pivotal roles at renowned organizations such as Dabur India Limited, McDonald's, Perfective and Mele, Britannia, ITC, and the Murugappa Group. He holds an MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, and it's an alumni of NIT. Umesh's experience encompasses end-to-end supply chain management, operations, sourcing, and a deep understanding of food and QSR industries. So let's delve into his journey, his insights on supply chain innovations, and the evolving landscape of the FMCG sector. So, welcome to the show, Umesh.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you for being me here, okay, in the show, and happy to share my thoughts and my experience throughout my career. As I told, you have told that I have worked across, from automobiles to consumer goods, then FMCG, food, QSR, and currently I'm heading the supply chain, one of the large FMCG company based out of India and Dubai. I was heading earlier supply chain based out of India for the volume of around 10,000 crores. And as of now, I got transferred to Dubai and I had international supply chain. And I see evolving the technology, use of technology is going to increase day by day, and it is going to be more, going to be more productive and going to make more people more productive basically in terms of taking decisions, in terms of predictive analysis, and in terms of cutting the time, improving the productivity. Okay, and in fact I will share some of the thoughts what I have used across basically in terms of logistics, warehousing, and I see in terms of like AI ML is one theme, is large theme used across in supply chain in terms of starting from the demand forecasting. So where you use all machine learning algorithms based on your events, historical data, and you forecast it. In fact, there are some of the events like some mega function is going to come, or some temperature control things also, like temperature is going to increase or decrease. Based on that, your beverage sale is going to up and down. We are one of the leading juice manufacturer also in India. Our portfolio is home and personal care and beverages and health care and Ayurveda. We are in leader in India. So each technology is basically is useful for us. So for demand planning, we use as of now SAP IBP, okay, where machine learning algorithms are used and forecasts are baseline is generated by my team, and then it is shared with all marketing and sales people. They add their values, okay, and if some more insights we can bring through the algorithms, we bring it, okay, and then consensus planning happens, and then it is we signed off based on numbers basically, what all budget numbers, and that's where we use it. Not only on demand planning side, in fact in terms of packaging, like I need, let's say I need to compare large companies, what all designs are coming into the market, okay. I will say company A look should be company A, B, C, and but it should not be similar like that one. So AI will generate a packaging design for me, and it will give me different alternatives. So based on that, I can use 3D printing immediately and make a mock-up and see how the product looks. Okay, then quickly I can reduce my cycle time. So that's how we use technology very extensively. And another thing, like in terms of scheduling meetings, making minutes of meeting, and in fact, I will tell you, AI generates even inventory norms. Okay, so I work, currently in international market. International market, the forecast accuracies are much lower compared to the stable markets. Okay, so where we need to work on, mean and max norms. Basically, it's like demand driven MRP. So where if we have some doubts, we ask the questions to AI, and it suggests, the way how we have to calculate it. And I personally use AI very extensively, and I am big fan of AI actually. The way it is going to evolve, and the way it is going to help all the managers to decide, and teams also. I mean, in terms of reducing the time and improve the productivity.
That's really great to hear. Thanks for sharing that information. I think you shared some really valuable insights, and it's amazing to see how your organization is really adopting the more cutting edge and AI based technology so well. And I think the use cases that you have mentioned are absolutely bang on. Those are really very high value use cases that AI can solve, right? So let's start a little bit going back from your personal journey. So you have spent almost like over 2 decades in the industry, right? And across FMCG and retail companies. And then, of course, you specialize in the supply chain management side of things. Right? In your journey over the years, right? So, how have you seen this evolve? How have you seen supply chain management evolve, right? And of course, with technology coming in. So, what has your experience been back in the days when you joined the industry versus the evolution?
So when I joined the industry at that time, supply chain had, some portion was like planning used to be either function part of sales, okay, and your logistics, and these are the part of the factory operations, and finance will give some plan. So where it will be, top budget will be matched, but SKU level never matching will be there. It was really struggle for the people who are working, making the scheduling, production scheduling, and doing the billing to match at SKU level. So there was huge difference between, actually what is selling and what the forecast was given, because since it was given by the finance, and finance guys or sales guys will mostly see the numbers from the budget point of view. Let's say 100 millions plan they will give. They will not bother about the what SKU level plan they have given. So now the evaluation of supply chain happens slowly. The demand planning comes into the picture, and initially it was reporting to the salespeople. But being a part of the sales in demand planning, you cannot do a justice to the role, actually, to the organization, okay. And there are huge biases in terms of, so typically what used to happen, wherever there is capacities, and where the material can be get very easily, okay, people will not give you the plan, because they are sure about at last moment also, if any order comes, we will be getting the material. And where they understand there are constraints and there is difficulty, there they will put the plans, and but finally they will deliver the numbers and saying that they could have done much more if they would have got what they have asked for, okay. And in fact, one of the leading bakery manufacturer in India, when I was a project manager for SAP APO implementation, and there was huge debate between regional sales heads and NSM and me, ki we are selling from so many years, 20 plus years, what a demand planning engine knows, or what a demand planner knows about it, okay. So we said, okay, fine, okay. So let's see, or let's measure the accuracy at three levels. One is a demand planners, okay. Second is your plan, and third is whatever is your boss is saying, okay. So, so we will measure accuracy once the go live happens, and we started measuring the accuracy, and found that accuracy was earlier around 70%. It moved almost 89% actually. Okay, and our we have huge slops. I was in food industry, and freshness issues. And the after 3 months, when we have shown the results to managing director, he has given nobody will touch the forecast what is given by Umesh basically, okay. And the number, I mean, so we used to measure something called forecast value add. Who is adding the value basically, okay. If RSM's number is good, we will give yes, you have done good job. If it is not good, I mean, then you have to refer to the demand planner's number. So then, I was empowered by the leadership team. If anywhere any event is not running, any promotion is not happening, and the more forecast is given by the regional teams, okay. So in that case, what you do, you cap that number. Suppose the baseline number is 100 and no event is happening, somebody is giving you 130 number, you cap at 120. somebody is giving 70, you cap it at 80 numbers, okay, and you reduce the noise. And if the product is, moving, and then the demand plus forecast would be the best forecast. By means of that, we are able to achieve much more, numbers. Our fill rate got improved, our slop got reduced, and in fact, we have, after this, we have, done a lot of network optimization exercise, where we said our distance traveled is almost 900 kilometers, okay, and how to reduce the distance, okay, on bakery kind of item which is traveling almost 800 900 kilometers, you need to hold more inventory, right? So then we said we will be continuously reducing the distance by setting up more greenfield projects basically. Okay, today that company has around 320 kilometers average distance travel, and that company is one of the best company in terms of cost, basically, in terms of, okay, best, one of the best companies where I have worked at. And in fact, I have worked with good consultant like Kearney, how to optimize the cost, and I know the techniques which we have evolved. So demand planning involved, then we have a good visibility of the demand numbers, and we bottleneck the constraints and invest in the greenfield projects basically, okay, and which will be more to the market and more cost efficient, and giving the best fill rates. And one more piece what I have learned is, typically in FMCG industry, you have a lot of promotions, renovations, innovations happens, pack refresh will happen, artwork will change, you will change the celebrity itself after 2 years who is doing your industry, so there will be some flash on pack of the celebrity, okay. So if you see you are unable to do that as a project management office, and so there will, you will not come to know who has not done. So there are, let's say, 50 activities, okay, artwork to be created first by the brand managers, then it has to go back to the regulatory team, packaging team, everybody will do their work, and finally it will go for cylinder proof, okay, or for a trial mold, okay. After that, you have the sample comes, you approve the samples, and then the your commercial run starts. And by the time your master data will also is getting made in SAP. So earlier days, what used to happen, so there is a lot of misses happen in between, right? It's like in phase out process if you are not managing properly well. So now with the help of PLMs and other things, and dedicated roles, we are able to, arrest the sales loss and arrest the write offs also, one thing. And third thing is, in terms of, people are focusing a lot of things now in ESG basically, right?
Yeah.
So in ESG, like we have started measuring all, where is our carbon footprint, and even in primary and secondary transportation, how much carbon we are burning, basically how much fuel we are burning, and wherever the distances are short haul distances, basically whether we can use EV vehicles, even in mid haul also, where the distance is between 200 to 400 kilometers, can we do the tie up with the some, OEM who can make vehicle for us, or any logistic provider who can run a dedicated vehicle for us. That's how ESG. And second thing is, in terms of factories, also a lot of green initiatives happening, where you use the solar energy, you cover your, roof panels, and at least ensure 15 to 20% energy you are drawing from solar panels. Get boilers you are implementing it, and all, everywhere you are using, measuring the energy consumptions, okay, and by means of IoT sensors, you are measuring. And one good example I will give you, like I was director of supply chain in McDonald's, where we have all frozen products, okay, where temperature profile is minus 18 and below, and if any temperature deterioration happens, product loses its shelf life, right? So I have, let's say, on India map, through the control towers, my team used to monitor it, okay, and if anywhere, it's monitoring the speed of the vehicle, where it is, and from how many minutes driver is not moving, okay. If it is not moving, from last 5 minutes, immediately he will get a call, what's the problem, basically, right? So whether he has some temporary problem or any permanent problem, if any problem he is unable to, we are unable to rectify online, immediately he will be assisted by new vehicle, and goods will be loaded. So you will get the temperature profile of all the products basically, right? So what the temperature cycle it is going, and so that there is guarantee of the quality basically. Okay, and in fact I am very very thankful for McDonald's system, basically such a stringent quality parameters they use basically. Okay, and genuinity of the product, and lot of audit happens into the factories which are also automated. Many of the things are automated. And in fact, I will tell you our fish, filet fish burger. Okay, if you have tasted sometimes, so it comes the fish block used to come from Alaska region. Okay, America,
Mhm.
throughout the world, and that's a frozen product distributing all across the world and monitoring the temperature profile. And today there are in market logistics companies. Okay, like Musk. Okay, Musk has implemented blockchain, okay, and transparency. Okay, latest one of the latest thing is where you customer can get end to end data basically, from where the product is coming, what was the temperature profile, and till it is delivered, all the quality parameters was there. And in fact, in a lot of pharma business, it is we make pharma products also. In terms of lot of scope for improvement in implementation of blockchain is coming. Okay, from farm to fork and up to last stage of the product. Okay, from where all ingredients are coming, what are the batch numbers, and what all parameters are there, and each stage basically you can, once you scan the product, you can get the details. In fact, we are going to implement that thing for to arrest the counterfeit. We get a lot of products, like we are servicing UK market also, like premium products. Okay, and some manufacturer in based out of China is making counterfeit product for us. So but in future, I mean, there is a technology by means of which you can scan the code and see from where this product is coming, and what is the uh, supply chain value chain for this, and you can see this is genuine or not actually. So it is going to arrest a lot of fake products into the market. Okay, and like I was telling you, in food there is a lot of applications, like McDonald's example I was giving, right? And in fact these technologies are used by like IBM has one proprietary technology on blockchain. Okay, for which Walmart has implemented. And other thing is, in terms of IoT, I was telling you, we monitor the vehicle movements, and we see what is really happening. And there is a lot of MES system we have implemented here in Russell Khema factory, where you need not to record the production basically. So production is recorded automatically, and it's integrated to SAP system, from where the directly data goes. Nobody need to punch the data to the system. Okay, online what is happening. Okay, and in fact, many of the things digitally you can monitor. What is happening there, and how the equipment status is there, and you can have all sensors which will tell you the real time situations. Okay, and in terms of automation in warehousing and logistics, and we have one large ASRS system in one of the big factory in Tezpur. Okay, where all entire warehouse is automated. It is one of the large factory basically, making almost 10 lakh cases per month. That technology we are exploring for all international locations also, where things are more automated. And in fact, there is a technology in terms of where you do auto guided vehicles, which you will be picking up the stocks and scanning the barcode, and based on that it will be doing the put away. Okay, and while picking also, I mean, in terms of they will go automatically to that location, and then they will picking the stocks based on the orders. In fact, in that there are two type of technology. One is automated guided vehicles, which runs like a rail. Okay, and second is you can guide basically. They will select automatically path, and any obstruction comes in between, they will stop, wait for some time, again they will go in. And finally, when there is charge is getting reduced, okay, they will go to that station and automatically they will get charged. And once the full charge, again it will start working. So that technology is across used by all e-commerce players currently. Okay, and so people call it butlers or some robots. It's, you will find across like Amazon, in fact in India also, Flipkart, in a lot of e-commerce companies are planning to implement that one. And other thing is in terms of automation, like we have earlier it was very difficult for us to do the stock counting. Every month you have to take, you have to close the operation for 3 4 days. And so now there is a lot of technology by means of robots, or you can do the basically you can do the stock counting, and they can take the pictures, and immediately then you can double check what is the quantity, and within 1 day you can finish the stock counting. And in fact, if you are using RFID for high-end products, so automatically by means of scanning you can do it quickly basically. So this reduces your wastage and gives you a lot of productivity into the system. And this is, I think, one of the technologies which is going to help to supply chain managers to bring more accuracy in the inventory and reduce the pilferage, and reduce the write-offs into the system. So that technology is will be integrated with the WMS system, and across companies are utilizing that one. Okay, with the help of drones, you can do the stock countings, and you can see how the conditions of the material is there. Okay. So robotics, we have spoke about, automation we have spoke out, and internet of things we have spoke about in terms of fleet management, in terms of consumptions of basically oil, fuel basically, and temperature data. In fact, as I was telling, all sippers, where you do the you sip the frozen, you use the frozen containers, all chilled containers, okay, where the temperature is very very critical. Okay, and over the sea, suppose the from RAK, any shipment is going to from Russell Khema, Dubai to US, let's say, it takes 45 to 50 days. Okay, where the temperature gets increased, you don't know. But today the technology, with the help of technology, you can get all the data online basically, and all big shipping companies have implemented that. And other thing is in terms of route optimization. So earlier it was very very difficult, I mean, in terms of one route people will follow for one shipment, and all the deliveries are big deliveries. Okay, and the cost is also higher. Okay, and your frequency of replenishment is much lesser. But now means of most of the ERP, basically planning engine, has that capability where the optimization can be done and you can reduce the cost. In fact, now as the quick commerce comes, right, and since I have worked in McDonald's, and I know how the Mac deliveries, you promise it, you deliver the product within 10 15 minutes. In fact, if you go to the stores, they promise for delivery within 3 minutes. If you are not getting your burger in 3 minutes, you will be getting something French fries free of cost. Okay, as a complimentary meal. So those things basically in terms of helping the companies to optimize the route, and from which route your fuel consumption will be much lesser, and by means of using those technologies, you can reduce your carbon footprints. So that's how companies are implementing it. And if you talk about high tech industry, high tech, like I have worked in automobile industry, and that industry is a very very technology driven industry where robots, okay, robots usage is increasing much more. And in fact, the systems, what we used to call about Toyota production systems. Okay, and with the help of technology and those olden concepts like Kanban, JIT, all these things, you can implement with much more rigor and efficient way. Okay, by means of using all these technologies. Okay, and in fact you can do a lot of simulations. So today we have 3D simulations, which is called, basically you have digital twin technology. Okay, which you design your supply chain. Okay, or you design your machine or component, you see how the components are going to behave it. Okay, how your supply chain is going to behave. And in if you are designing in supply chain, designing the lines, throughputs. So everything you can simulate it, okay, without having physically the equipment, and then based on the output you can implement what is required. And in fact, there are a lot of good technology providers who provide the services into the market, and all process companies and all high tech companies is using digital twin in supply chain for simulation. So like I will give you the example is one Unilever is continuously using it, and in terms of automobile companies are continuously using it. And one more thing is in terms of as your technology is getting much more cheaper and your data speed is earlier data, data was costing very high and speed was very very less actually. Okay, there was a lot of disturbance in terms of communication, but now there are alternate ways. You have one mode of failure happens, then second mode is there, right? So by means of using those technologies, your cost is coming down, productivity is moving up. And in fact, 5G network, rolling the globally 5G network is going to improve your connectivity, and you will have a access to the data, and many of the internet of things, IoT enabled things will be running much more smoother way, and it is going to give much more cost benefit to all the companies and comfort to the users. So that's how the technology is evolving. And definitely in terms of lot of work is happening nowadays in sustainable area, like I have spoken to you, okay, which you can monitor in terms of automation, or through IoTs also you can do the benchmark and you can monitor it, okay. And in terms of deliveries, one more automation is coming from last 4 5 years in terms of automation in terms of deliveries, where somewhere in developed countries where government has given license for drone deliveries, basically those are on pilot stage, and there are autonomous vehicles which are already used in factories, and that technology within 4 5 years we will see coming into the road, and you will see the driverless cars, okay, running and doing work in much more efficient way. That's how the technology is evolving.
That's amazing. I mean, what you have shared in a matter of few minutes, it's like a master class of how right technologies can help in an industry, right? So you have covered so many important and diverse concepts, right? Right from demand forecasting of how can you leverage data versus gut feel that people used to use earlier, right? Individual insights to actually using data to forecast and predict things, all the way to using IoT to measure temperature, optimize route, uh, to drone technologies used in delivery, to robotics, right? So you've covered like a wide variety of technology, and thanks for sharing that. That's really very, very useful. So let me ask a slightly different kind of a question, right? So now in today's world with availability of so many diverse technologies that one has, right, access to, now of course larger organizations like Dabur or McDonald's, right, so they of course have that kind of budgets and resources to actually implement things the right way, right? So, what would be your recommendation to maybe relatively smaller companies who are new in this game, right? So, how do they decide between what should be the right technology and what stage should they apply the right technology and what is the right way to apply the technology, right? Because it can actually become overwhelming saying that, yeah, what do I use, right? So, how do I decide between what is right for my operations? So, from your experience, and because you have seen companies evolve into these technologies over time, right? They didn't exist a few years back. So, what challenges that you saw a lot of those companies when they first incorporated newer technologies? And based on that, what would be your advice to someone who is doing it today?
So my first advice is you see a total cost of ownership. Basically, any software or any automation you are going to do, what will be your all entire life cycle cost of that product? Okay, how it is going, how much it is going to cost you till the end, basically. Okay, and how it is going to give you ROI. And second thing is in terms of a lot of, you may have to do some business process re-engineering, right? The way currently you are doing, those are may not be the best way actually, right? So what should be the best way? So first align your process, and master data is also one of the key, basically. Okay, okay. So master data, once you clean the master data, and then it's like garbage in, garbage out. Okay, and you have to clean your master data and put the effort and the expectation from the tool. Actually, see, you need to give the proper command. Okay, and everything tool will not do. Okay, at least then you need to analyze the results and give the feedback to the tool, basically, whether the output is correct or not. Even in AI, so many times AI can miss off some of the things. Again, you have to tell that this result is not correct, what I am looking at. So you have to make your tool learn, basically, right? Okay, and then it will give you proper. And second is that one last one is change management. Anything is, so in the beginning, in expectation, people say yes, wow, technology, let's go for that one. But what is the hit ratio of that technology? Okay, what are the challenges in implementation, and what how other companies has come for outcome from the challenges, basically. Okay, so you study out that, then you roll it. And it's not necessary that you implement big software. You can see in terms of like robotics or something, like you can do POC with you can start small. Okay, and at a smaller scale, and once you see the benefit, then you can implement at larger scale. And in fact, you are a small player, then you can do your revenue sharing. Whatever the benefit will happen, you will pass to the OEM supplier or whatever equipment or software supplier, this much percentage, how the benefit comes. That means you will be double sure that you are not wasting your money, and you will be getting the proper support. And in fact, there are a lot of platforms currently, a lot of technology companies which do this work based on sharing basis. Okay, so I think for smaller companies that is the best. And if you need some help, you hire some consultants part time, because full time senior employees you will be unable to afford. Once your technology implemented, your revenue grows, then you can hire your own team. And other thing is, if you are based, let's say, out of Europe or US, or maybe Middle East, where the cost is much higher, some of your operations you can outsource to low cost countries like India. Okay, so currently in India, a lot of GCCs are working. Okay, global service centers are working, support centers. So from where backend the team can support you, at front end people can do the work. So you can do have a balance of the cost. So for a new company, you need to do POC, and you need to do some trials, and better to share revenue. So in terms of, let's say, warehousing, I'm saying, so you have 4PL providers. You fix their commission based on percentage of the sales. Let's say you incur 4 to 5% of the sales cost. You negotiate in between. Without any infrastructure, they will operate for you. But creating your own structure, like big companies where I have worked, it takes years, because those companies are more than 30 plus years. I think that's the way.
Yeah. No, that's really great feedback in terms of how can you progressively evaluate newer technologies. How can you do it in a more cost-effective manner, right? By doing revenue sharing. So I think those are really great insights. So let me ask you this personally, right? So you have worked in organizations which are using like really cutting edge technology, and you mentioned that you yourself use a lot of technology and AI on a day to day basis, right? But if I have to ask you, right? So what are, let's say, current challenges that you or your team face, right? So, which is, let's say, not yet solved by technology. And if you had a magic wand to say that, yeah, I wish that this existed so that it would make your day to day work easier, right? So, what would that be?
So I will talk about like India market is very very mature market in terms of predicting the demand and in terms of running in fact CRS system, continuous replenishment system or auto replenishment system, or which is called even VMI, vendor managed inventory, is much more easier there. In fact, if you select the model of demand driven MRP, that is also much simpler. But in markets like where we operate, especially like Africa, okay, GCC market, okay, where I mean you do not get that much of visibility, okay, visibility of the inventory, visibility of secondary and thus tertiary, right? And it is very very difficult to predict the sales. Basically, your forecast accuracies across the companies, not only for us, across companies are much lower. And because the transparency between the countries, between the partners, and I will say trust, actually trust levels are much lesser, okay, that's why people do not share the data. And since they do not share the data, and that's why the visibility they're not there in supply chain, okay, that's the biggest challenge currently. But some customers understand that, so we are able to integrate that one and we are able to predict their demand. I think a lot of scope of work is there actually in this market, and where by means of deploying the technologies, by means of creating more visibility into the supply chain, and we can reduce their working capital also, our working capital also, and improve the fill rates, and which will help us to grow their revenue as well as our revenue.
Umesh, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I think I have learned quite a few things from your journey, from the information that you have shared, right? So, before we close out today's podcast, so let me ask you one last question, right? So, what technology advancement are you most excited about that you think that will make a huge impact in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I think AI is one of the big thing. Okay, so AI will give lot of predictive analysis basically. Okay, lot of predictive things. Okay, and other is in terms of I think by means of using this one. So blockchain basically. Okay, blockchain in terms of supply chain it will bring lot of transparency. Lot of transparency by means of using IoT basically. You will be getting a lot of leverage in terms of sitting right now maybe in UK, you can have visibility what is if any your vendor is there, let's say in India or any corner actually, what is happening at your product, at what stage it is. So by means of those technology you can see that online, and how the things are working. I mean, I think AI is going to be big way, okay, and it downside is that it may cut some of the jobs also, but it is going to bring a lot of innovations, and it is going to improve a lot of productivity basically. So that will be, I think, big way assisted by your blockchain, you have robotics, you have drones, okay, and 3D printing technology, okay, all culmination of technology is AI will be giving a lot of outputs and helping you to decide into the future.
Okay, that's amazing. So let me just add on to that, right? So you mentioned about the challenges that you face in geographies like Africa, right? And there are like trust issues and all of those, right? So do you think that blockchain will help solve or mitigate some of those challenges of kind of implementing
I
trust-based
think
sharing?
definitely blockchain will help in terms of implementing those things. First thing is that my end customer need to get a confidence what he is going to get after this implementation. As of now, what the your vendor or your customer thinks, this data is not useful for me, okay, why should I share the data, okay. So once that kind of confidence will coming as the world is evolving in terms of technology, right, the acceptance will be increasing much more, okay, and definitely we'll be able to roll more technology into the value chain from end to end, and we will be track and trace the product, okay, in terms of what kind of product we are getting, whether it is safe or not. Like in, I will give you the pharma industry, lot of pharma products comes from India to those Africa nations, okay, and there was some casualty of the kids happened in one of the country, unfortunately. Okay, and if you, especially if your products are food products and you have pharma products, okay, which directly impact, where I think it is need of the hours to implement blockchain. And in some of the cases, I think it should be must basically to report your data, what all parameters, what all inputs has gone into the product, because it is very very crucial for human life. Okay, and I think yes, that in that area a lot of things can be done and a lot of value can be added to the product and customer.
It's amazing. So, Umesh, thanks for joining me today and sharing your insight. It was really great having you on the podcast today.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you. Pleasure talking to you, me. Okay, and it's a great privilege me being here in this podcast. Thank you again very much. Bye.
And to everybody who is listening in today, thanks for listening in, and stay tuned for the next episode where we again speak with another industry leader about how technology is redefining, impacting their business. So, thanks again, and see you all soon.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.